All right, settle down, friends. Settle down, friends. There's plenty of grits out there. You can. It's like Shoney's. You just get a new plate. Welcome to this, now I'm going to get the month right this time, the June Wednesday Wake Up Club Breakfast. My name is Matthew Hurd. I'm Director of Professional Services here at Leadership Institute. Morton sends his best, and I'm going to surprise the interns this morning. So for the first time in a year over the weekend, for many of you who've known Morton for a long time, you know that he's got a cabin outside Criglersville, which is an unincorporated part of someplace west of Ballston. And I tell people if it's further west than Ballston or further south than King Street, I can't find it on the map. But we drove out. So 11 of 12 interns went out over the weekend. All 11 survived, much to my chagrin. But they're all back today. And so, but Morton recorded. If you're taking in the conservative culture, there's a really great podcast called Light Beer, Dark Money. If you're from Arizona, you have friends in Arizona. They a couple of guys out there. One was in beer distribution, light beer, and then one was in politics, dark money. And they do a really cool podcast. And Morton sat down with them yesterday to talk about his time as a conservative activist and as the youngest elected Goldwater delegate. So that is going to hit Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and whatever platform you listen to probably in the next week or so. But he's had a hectic week, and so I'm up here today, and I just welcome you for being here again. Our June Wednesday Wake Up Club Breakfast. We live in interesting times. I know we live in interesting times. The most recent edition of the Spectator World includes research from Max Horder, a senior fellow at the Network Contagion Research Institute, highlighting an increase in left-wing violence in American politics. Horder writes, "Something has changed in America's psyche. Violence has become more acceptable. It's not just that we've seen two attempted and very nearly successful attacks on Donald Trump's life. It's that a worrying number of young Americans cheered on those attempted assassinations and still wish they had succeeded. Since early this year, 2025, there have been widespread public support for the smashing of Tesla dealerships, one right down the road here in Arlington. I'm sure you've all been to those protests. And for the shooting of Elon Musk. An unprecedented 10,000 new threats have been made against Senate and congressional members just this year alone, according to Capitol Police. Applause for the actual murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson in December goes on unabated online. His handsome young accused killer, Luigi Mangione, this is words I took from the article, not my own, is praised, respected, and even worshipped by a small but growing social media community. Elias Rodriguez, the man accused of killing two Israeli embassy officials just across the river in Washington late last month, has praised Mangione on social media. Horder concludes in his piece that I encourage you to read, it's available online, as the permission structures for political violence continue to incubate and grow online, it foretells nothing but bad news for American democracy. He finally concludes, when enough people tolerate, permit, and applaud the contemplated murders of Musk or Trump or men of their ilk, someone will try to be a hero. And then someone will try again. Post by post, tweet by tweet, the civic ground that supports democratic disagreement is cracking, and the cracks open into an abyss. It's not always bright sunshine here from the lectern, but that is the interesting point. I encourage you to live tweet this morning's breakfast. The hashtag is on the screen as well as our handle. You can engage with us. In fact, if you tweet a lovely photo and it's in compliance with our IRS regulations, we may retweet that. We got an excellent social media presence. I encourage you to follow us there. In 2025, already this year, June the 4th, is it the 4th? You guys are telling me, I don't know. In 2025 alone, your Leadership Institute has already trained 7,422 conservatives at 722 individual training events. Really exciting stuff. Since 1979, Leadership Institute's trained more than 340,209 activist students and leaders. You have before you Leadership Institute's schedule for the upcoming month. Again, we're in June. Please take a moment to review these schools and consider either attending one or sending a friend or someone who could benefit. Special shout out, it's happening at the end of July, but there is a conservative organizational entrepreneur, I think it's the last weekend in July, Saturday and Sunday, basically an explanation or a training of Morton's essay on how to start a conservative grassroots group or political action committee or effort. We launched this in 2022, again, creating a training program based on Morton's writings, and it's been really cool. So that is coming up at the end of July. It's one that I was just talking about a few minutes ago. If you're watching online, perhaps, visit our website at leadershipinstitute.org/training to see upcoming online and in-person trainings. And then one more thing. For those of you, we know that you're busy. You are raising a family, you've got kids in school, or you're even busier, you're retired. My dad is retired, and he's busier than he's ever been. We have over 300 hours, more than 300 hours, of online on-demand programming at leadershipinstitute.training. Many of those are complimentary thanks to the generous support of our donors. There's a small price tag to a few of them, but because you're here today, I'm going to give you the hack. If you use promo code TRUECONSERVATIVE, all caps, one word, you can access all those trainings, all 300 plus hours, at no additional cost to you. So if you want to run for office, if you want to start an organization, if you want to learn how to message to your friends in the middle or message to your friends on the left or anything, there's a lot of stuff on there. And if you're looking for a job in the conservative movement, we've got some careers training on there as well. So exciting stuff. I'm going to introduce to you Peyton Clyden for the purposes of an invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. Peyton is a math and history major, much more exciting than political science, math and history major at San Diego University, and is serving as president of his college Republicans and Turning Point USA chapter. He previously interned the California State Senate in a district office. This past week, he worked at the Statesman Conference, where students learn to defend and uphold their conservative Christian beliefs on college campuses. It was here in the building end of last week and through the weekend, like 75 students from all over the country learning how to defend their conservative principles and their faith on college campuses. Peyton is currently the Christian Leaders Program intern at Leadership Institute. Peyton, please join us up here for the invocation and the pledge.
Thank you, everyone. As Matthew kindly mentioned, my name is Peyton Clyden. I am currently the Christian Leaders Intern for this summer's internship program. Now I'd like to lead everyone in our invocation this morning. Dear Lord, thank you for this food we've been blessed with this morning and for those who spent the time preparing it. I pray that this food fills our minds and souls with the sustenance to fulfill your purpose today and every day. Thank you also for this room full of people and the fellowship we have together at Leadership Institute. I pray that you can continue to bless this organization and provide the clarity to maintain its success into the years beyond. We pray this in Jesus' name, and everyone says, all right, next, I would like to lead everyone in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Peyton, all the way from San Diego. He's parked his surfboard outside. I'm going to provide a bit of a programs report for you this morning, and I'm super excited because I've surprised. First of all, our intern program started about 3 weeks ago. If you are an intern in the summer program here at Leadership Institute, would you please stand? This is actually, I'm making sure they're all here this morning. It was an attendance check. Great. So we have interns for, you guys can sit down now. We have interns from all over the country and all around the world who spend about 12 weeks with us each 3 times a year. So the summer intern program is the most competitive of the intern semesters that we have here. We've got interns from all over the country, like I said, and even one from Australia. They let them out on work release. I know, it's never going to stop, Nathan. It's never going to stop. But this past weekend, the interns joined Morton for a weekend at the Briar Patch, which, again, if you know about Morton, Briar Patch is outside Criglersville. It is his cabin that he and Helen, purchased and built and created as a second home, a place to get away. It's got some history there, and I'm going to show you some recent history. So we drove out Saturday morning and went to the Giant in Warrenton, exciting stuff, and we bought food for 14 people. They each had, it was like supermarket sweep. They broke up into 4 teams and went and found things in the grocery store. Now, there was an all-male team who I thought was going to get lost in the cookie aisle. And I just, as someone who has shopped at a grocery store alone before, I get lost. But just, here's a few more of them. Morton he's got 2 .38 caliber revolvers, one that he purchased quite a while ago, and then one that he purchased for Helen, and so the interns learn all about gun safety. In fact, this is Morton warning the interns that if they do something foolish at the house, like leave a gallon of milk in the fridge, he'll tell them what's up. But he does. He goes through 30 minutes of firearm safety and training. Of course, for the interns, how many of you had not yet handled a firearm? So, a Californian and an Australian. So, predictable. And so this is, so Morton shows them how to load and understanding that if you're going to point it at something, you better be intending to shoot it, so you don't point at humans. Keep your finger off the trigger. All that great stuff. And then they went and put maybe 1,000 bullets into that barrel at the end of the property. Here's some kitchen activity. Again, so interns were responsible for cooking and cleaning and all this for the whole weekend. And we got a couple of them were a little tired. And then on Sunday afternoon, we took them to Luray Caverns, and they got the HOV lane through Luray Caverns, a really exciting experience to see the biggest or most beautiful, whatever the signs on 66 say. It's the most awesome cave in the East Coast, and so it was just a really great time. So this was the first time since last summer that Morton had taken the interns to the Briar Patch, and he said on Sunday morning, that he was just so pleased and so excited to be able to spend the weekend with them. And this is this isn't, and I will thank our generous donors, but this is something that Morton and Helen, before she passed, did with the interns every single semester. And it is something just to see, and many of you know my relationship with Morton at LI and in the political space, to see him interact and share stories and get to know the interns is really exciting stuff. And they all survived. Like I said, 11 of 12 went out and 11 of 12 came back. So that is your programs report. Of course, none of our programs would be possible without the generous support of our donors. Many of you who are in the room, whether it's $5 or $5 million. We're so grateful, and I've really seen, as somebody who took my first youth leadership school as a college student in Middle Tennessee State University in 2007 to today, I've really seen the growth of the programs and the quality of the programs, and then, of course, the growth and the stewardship of our generous donors. So thank you so much for everything you do to make these programs possible. Now I will introduce Megan Kempf for the purposes of introducing our speaker. Megan is majoring in politics and law at the University of San Antonio, beautiful town. She is serving as secretary for her county party out there in Texas. She recently completed Leadership Institute's intensive 9-day campaign leadership college. Is there one of those coming up, Rick? Couple weeks. There's a campaign leadership college coming up in a couple weeks. 9-day campaign leadership college, and is helping plan next month's National 4th of July Conservative Soiree, which, of course, as you know, is on the 4th of July or Independence Day. Megan is the program events intern at the Leadership Institute. Megan, please join us on stage and introduce our speaker.
Good morning. Our speaker today is Martha Bonetta-Fain. Martha received her Juris Doctor from Antonin Scalia Law School at George Mason University. She is a government affairs strategist, policy advisor, and nationally recognized commentator on current affairs. Martha is also chairman of Vote America First and a principal of Victory Coalition Strategies, LLC. She frequently appears on various media outlets as a policy advisor on TV, radio, and other news sources. In 2017, Martha was appointed the Executive Vice President of Citizens for the Republic, CFTR, founded by President Ronald Reagan in 1977. CFTR was relaunched in 2017 by several veterans of the Reagan Administration. Martha is a native Virginian and nationally recognized farmer on her family farm, Liberty Farm, in Paris, Virginia. In 2016, the General Assembly honored her with a joint commendation from both the House and the Senate, recognizing her significant contributions to the Commonwealth and the nation. The Virginia General Assembly honored Martha Bonetta with a joint commendation from both the Virginia House and Senate, recognizing Martha for her significant contributions to the Commonwealth and nation in 2016. Martha played a critical role in protecting property rights, so much so that the Virginia State Legislature named them the Bonetta Bills 1 and 2 after her. She is also the subject of a documentary film, Farming in Fear, that received the People's Choice Award at the Anthem Film Festival and has been screened in universities across the nation since 2014. Martha was recognized as one of America's most amazing women by Country Women magazine and was inducted into the National Capital Friends of the NRA Hall of Fame in 2017. Today, Martha advises leaders from around the world and is a sought-after speaker to corporations, universities, and business communities on public affairs, the environment, and energy. She also co-hosts radio talk shows. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm so thrilled to be here at the Leadership Institute. This is so near and dear to my heart. The last time I was here was many years ago, and the Leadership Institute has created some of the greatest conservative leaders of our time. So I just want to thank Morton Blackwell for all of the great work he has done, and really for all of you for being here. So I'm thrilled to share my journey with you, and my journey from becoming a family farmer, from being a family farmer to an activist, has many themes, and there are 3 themes in particular I want to share with you that will be throughout my talk today. And the first one is promises made and promises kept. The second theme is going to be surround yourself with people and circumstances that make a stronger relationship in your faith in God, that make your values stronger, and that help you achieve your goals. And to stay away from distractions that prevent you from becoming stronger in those important goals. And then finally, we live in the greatest nation on earth, and to never, ever give up. So with that said, I want to start by this theme of promises made, promises kept. I started off as a small family farmer. I went to law school here in Washington, D.C., George Mason School of Law, just over the river. And I grew up in a family, I'm the youngest of 3 girls, who taught us that we live in the greatest nation on earth. And no matter who you are, no matter where you come from, you can be anything you want in life. And my dream was to be a farmer. I fell in love with Virginia's rural agrarian community and the beautiful farmland that we have right outside of our nation's capital, and I couldn't wait to start my own working family farm. And I did that. I purchased a farm in 2006 with my family, and I never dreamed that before the ink was even dry, I would have the heavy hand of tyrannical government overregulation breathing down my neck. And so many businesses experience this before they're even able to launch their businesses. The heavy hand of government overregulation and bureaucratic red tape stops them from either getting started or stops them in their tracks when they're on their way to achieving their dreams. And at this point, I was very shy, believe it or not. and now you can't get me to be quiet. But at the time, I was very shy, and I really didn't know where to begin. I mean, what do you do? How do you fight back against the government with unlimited resources and deep pockets that can literally stop you in your tracks from achieving your dreams? Well, lo and behold, some of the greatest organizations in our country, conservative organizations in our country, helped me. Organizations like the Leadership Institute, Heritage Foundation, some of the greatest leaders of our time came to help me in this battle. Unfortunately, the battle took about 10 years, but I'm delighted to tell you that we won. We beat back against against tyrannical overreach. And I'm living, breathing proof that we can win. We can beat back against the tyrannical heavy hand of overregulation. And we can do that by working together and building coalitions within our conservative movement. I mean, this organization, the Leadership Institute, has produced some of the greatest freedom fighters and leaders of our time. Many of them are in elected offices. Many of them are community leaders. But the ability to fight back and win is near and dear to my heart. And I knew nothing about community organizing. I knew nothing about public engagement. I was somebody who had just, graduated from law school, worked on Capitol Hill, wanted to live my dream of being a farmer. And I found myself in this battle. And not only were we able to win for my family and for our family farm, but we were able to create a foundation that is still alive across the country today by creating laws that would protect not just farmers, but landowners, and to protect property rights. Because, freedom stands on the shoulders of property rights. If we don't have the freedom to own land and to enjoy the fruit of our labor on our land with our family, with our friends, and to live out our dream on our land, on our property that we work so hard for, then do we really have freedom? And so this experience has taught me some fundamental principles that I want to share with you today. So I want to first start by sharing some quotes with you, and all of these quotes, by the way, are from President Donald John Trump. So the first quote I'm going to share with you is that nothing great in this world has ever been accomplished without passion. Would you agree? So, and with that, we need to watch, listen, and learn. You can't know it all by yourself. Anyone who thinks they do is destined to mediocrity. And the reason why I share those quotes with you is because along the journey, you're going to meet people from every walk of life. And these relationships are so important because we can't do it ourselves. And building these relationships have been a cornerstone and fundamental in my life's journey. And so I wanted to make sure I shared that with you, because in life we'll meet people, and sometimes we don't appreciate the value that these relationships have and the wisdom that comes from experience. And I am so grateful to so many people that have touched my life and that have been there with me on this journey. And really, the success of the Bonetta bills that were mentioned earlier, or really fighting back and winning and creating this freedom, not just for my farm, but for farmers across the country, would not have been possible without some of the greatest individuals of our time that came out to help win this battle. I want to go back to lessons learned along the way. So when I started on this journey, I was very afraid to speak out about my battle and to call out the three-headed monsters that were trying to steal our family farm. And I was very reluctant to do that because I was afraid of criticism and ridicule. How many of you have ever felt that way, where you have felt like, gee, I don't want to speak out against something that is either harming me personally or harming my community or my country, because I don't want to get the backlash that comes from those that are the opposition. And I was very shy and timid about speaking out publicly. And one of the greatest things I ever did, not only for myself, but for small producers and farmers, and really for anybody who loves America and loves freedom, is to come out and be loud and unapologetic about my values and my beliefs. It's the greatest lesson I learned on this journey. And to understand that when you are taking those bullets of criticism, you know you're on the target. You know that you are speaking truth to power. You know you are fighting the fight. Because if nobody is criticizing you, then you aren't making a difference. You aren't moving that mountain. You aren't advancing your cause. And so right out of the gate, one of the first things I do is, this is back when the Tea Party was alive and well. How many people here were members of the Tea Party or are familiar with the Tea Party? Great, I see a lot of hands. So that is where I became initially engaged and became an activist, and that is now the MAGA movement. The MAGA movement led by our fearless leader, President Donald John Trump. So I've learned to accept the criticism and to be loud and very much unapologetic in my beliefs and my values. And what that does is it encourages others to also be unapologetic and share their values and also fight the fight publicly. Now, today, we have the benefit of using our cell phones to communicate and social media that really wasn't as powerful when I started my battle. And so now we are able to not just communicate with each other quickly and instantly and get messaging out right away, but we're also able to be our own personal ambassadors for ourselves, for our battles, and for, really we are the authors of our personal book of our lives, right? And so I know all of you, because you're here at the Leadership Institute, currently understand how important and powerful our cell phones are and social media is in terms of communicating and messaging. So I want to talk a little bit now about this whole notion of promises made, promises kept. Along the way, I would have politicians promise to help our battle and to help us win against the horrific overregulation that my family farm was experiencing. And then when the time came, they were nowhere to be found. And then I also met those that not only said they would help, but put their name on the legislation and did everything they could to help us win this battle. And so right now I want to just fill you in on a lot of the promises made and promises kept that have been that we've all witnessed on the global stage with President Trump, because I think this is a great example of how important it is when you make a pledge or a promise to the people to deliver. So President Trump, in terms of his deregulatory agenda, for every new law that's been created, does anybody know how many have been eliminated? Does anybody know? On average, 20. So 20. So deregulation, I personally believe that a government that governs least governs best, and we've had far too many unnecessary tyrannical laws on the books. In terms of immigration, he has strengthened our border security. He's made the American people safer in our communities on our national front. In terms of economy and trade, the America First trade policy and agenda has proven to be very successful. Core inflation falls to its lowest in, does anybody know how many years? 4 years. 4 years. In terms of energy and the environment, President Trump declared a national energy emergency, and he is now we are on the path now for American energy dominance, and I'm very excited about that. In terms of trade, President Trump has collected $22.3 billion in tariff revenue alone. He has secured $7.1 trillion in trade commitments. Among those is a $600 billion commitment to invest in the U.S. from Saudi Arabia. And the DOGE initiative, led by Elon Musk, has saved American taxpayers, who knows the number? Does anybody know the number? It's about $175 billion. And so I share this with you to say that this is an example that's near and dear to my heart. This is a man who loves our country, and his word means everything to him. And everything he has run on, his pledge to the American people and to the world, he has delivered on. So promises made, promises kept. In terms of, you know, your business and yourself, you are your personal brand, you are your ambassador to the world. I think that, you know, one of the quotes I started with was passion, and how passion is the start of every great endeavor. And for me, my passion was farming, producing food, healthy, local, organic food, opening up my farm to the people to come. And I never dreamed in a million years that I would be overcome and shut down by the local government because of something so beautiful. They threatened me with $15,000 a day if I kept my doors open. That's a lot of money today. Back then, it was extraordinary. And at that point, not knowing what to do or how to fight back, my community of conservative organizations was there for me and really taught me how to move forward and how to fight back and win. And by being here at the Leadership Institute, it really speaks to your commitment to fighting for the American dream. And so I couldn't be happier to be here today. And so I want to talk about as well how, you know, right now in the United States, really in our world, we are experiencing things that I never dreamed possible. And it's an exciting time to be alive, to witness the incredible transformational leadership of President Trump. And I believe it's an incredible opportunity to advance our conservative values. It's an opportunity for business. And really, it's a blessing to the world. And so with that said, I'm going to open it up for questions, and I can't wait to hear from all of you. Before we do that, I want to close with this. No dream is too big. No challenge is too great. Nothing we want for our future is beyond our reach. And those words came from President Donald John Trump. Thank you all so much for this opportunity. I'm eager to hear from you. And I saw a hand right here, sir.
Hi, Dick Heller. I was curious about transitioning from a farmer to law school. Did the did the Leviathan monster force you to go to law school? I mean, was that what the motivation?
I actually went to law school before this battle began. So I graduated from George Mason School of Law, now Antonin Scalia School of Law, before I ever purchased the farm. Well, that was always a childhood dream of mine. Education was very important to my parents. They really encouraged us to pursue our dreams, provided that we went to school and became and received degrees. That was very important to them. But in my heart, my childhood dream was to always be a farmer. I wanted to produce healthy organic vegetables. I wanted to open up my farm to the community. I wanted people to come and enjoy a working farm. And I'm very grateful for my law degree. It certainly gave me the confidence to fight this extraordinary battle, and very much helped with the drafting of the legislation and what ultimately became law, the Bonetta Bill 1 and 2. Liberty Farm is in Fauquier County, Paris, Virginia. We recently sold the farm, but it is still a working farm. And it is in a beautiful part of Virginia, just outside of Washington, D.C. So I encourage everyone to come and visit. It's in bucolic, beautiful Fauquier County. Yeah, the gentleman right here.
Yeah, thank you. Could you give us a couple examples of the government overreach and regulations that you fought and defeated?
Absolutely. So purchased the farm, and then before the ink was even dry, I had the alphabet soup of government agencies after me. And it was with the Department of Transportation, the Department of Agriculture, We had the zoning authorities after us. It was one agency after the other, fueled by the locality, coming after us in a farm-zoned rural agricultural in a right-to-farm state. By the way, Virginia's #1 economic industry is agriculture. So it was absolutely shocking to us that we would buy a working farm that had been farmed for hundreds of years and be hit with this much bureaucracy and red tape. And it was really devastating. At that point, we had purchased land that was in complete disrepair. We had put a significant amount of investment into turning it into what could be a proper working farm with animals and livestock, and being able to open it up to the community. In essence, the requirements that were forced on us were that of having, a massive, like Ringling, Barnum and Bailey coming to do a massive circus with thousands of people. It was outrageous what we had to endure, and it shut us down. And to this day, farmers reach out to me from all over the country when they face this type of government overreach and the heavy boot of regulation and red tape on the family farm every day. And thank goodness for President Trump, who is a friend of the family farmer. He has fought tirelessly to protect agriculture and our producers in our country. And one of the ways he's doing that is also by leveling the playing field with tariffs. So I'm very grateful to this president for what he's done to support the family farmer. Yes,
Thank you so much for the lovely speech, and I completely agree with you that this is the best city in the world. I've lived and traveled all over the world, and the US is the best country in the entire world. And my question to you about fighting. I worked for NIH contractor during COVID time, and I witnessed how the son of Obama-Biden administration's health advisors was getting billion-dollar contracts without any competition. And I can prove that based on the procurement system, federal government procurement system, where it shows that they are getting these large contracts set aside as a small business, but they do not meet the criteria of the small business. So my question for you, how do I fight that? How do I expose that? Because office in OIG, it will take decades for them to review the case. So what would you recommend me to do?
Well, that's a prime example of what Elon Musk and the Doge team have been uncovering in our government. And it's been, are any of you surprised, though, about the government waste, fraud, and overspending? If anybody here was shocked by that, please raise your hand. Okay, the magnitude. Very good, the magnitude. So yes, this is exactly what Elon Musk and his team, to your point, about how egregious it was for you to discover this. That's what his team has done. And it's, by the way, we're not done yet. I mean, there's still so much more that needs to be uncovered and, really given back to the American people. I mean, all this waste has been going on for so long, and it's only now under the leadership of President Trump and through Elon Musk's leadership as well as the head of Doge that any of this has been uncovered. But in that situation, I mean, I would recommend, I don't know who your representative is, who your congressional, it is. Yeah. I would still nevertheless, bring it to their attention. And that's just something I could talk to you about, afterwards as well. But I would know a little bit more about, the circumstances to direct you to the right individual. But, now more than ever, the American people's eyes are open to the horrific fraud and waste and overspending that's been taking place. And in that example of, this was it, how much money was it? $1 billion. Yeah, $1 billion. Yeah, so that's something that I'm very grateful for the team that has gone in and has opened the eyes of the world to let them know that under this administration, that's not going to continue. But yeah, we'll talk about that more, and I'll find out who to steer you towards.
Thank you.
person at least.
All right, you said you won your battle. Complete shocker. So my question is, how did you win your battle? However, let's catch everybody up here. What happened to her? All right, for those parents in the room, you know, that fear of the knock, knock, knock on the door for any accusation that's made in the school setting or wherever, with Department of Human Services coming knock, knock, knocking on your door. She was having authorities knocking on her door unannounced with any allegation they wanted to bring to her doorstep. And you said you sold the farm.
Just recently, yes.
So how do you call that a win? How do you
Oh,
win? How did you
right.
win your battle?
Okay. So, and I can speak to that, of course, absolutely. So, what she's referring to is, and this was a turning point in this battle to win back our rights on our farm. But we would have this alphabet soup of government representatives in and out of the farm, making all kinds of demands and requirements, inspections, and we had one of these inspectors come to the farm and demand to do an inspection, and the inspection included going through my personal private belongings, in my closet, drawers, looking in cupboards, you know, just it was done in a way to harass. There was no real justification for it, and very similar, yes. And at that point, my father, who is not alive with us today, he's in heaven looking down upon us, and he said, you know what, why don't you install video cameras with all of these inspections and all of these people coming to your farm? And I thought, here's my dad who barely used a cell phone, right? And he's telling me to install, you know, video cameras, and I did. And so we did capture the inspector really violating her role and really being abusive in her inspection. And in doing so, well, number one, she was let go shortly thereafter. But it really changed the course of events leading to our ultimate victory and changing the law not once but twice, because it was a bird's eye view into the depth and level that a lot of these individuals, given that authority, will do in the name of winning, right? They will abuse their positions, they will abuse their authority, they will exceed what they're permitted to do. And unless you're able to document it, and in our case, my 97-year-old father said, put in video cameras, and lo and behold, it was a significant turning point, because it really demonstrated that this went far above and beyond what was acceptable in these inspections. So thank you for reminding us of that. And then how did we ultimately win? Well, we did file a suit against everyone who was involved in this land grab, and ultimately this was a land grab. It had nothing to do with farming, because our farm was as wholesome as you can be. We did hay rides, pumpkin patches, pumpkin carvings. We opened our farm up to families and individuals that would come from all over the area to experience really a traditional, authentic, small family farm. And so it was really more about a land grab. At the end of the day, through the Freedom of Information Act, we found out that this was about realtors that colluded and conspired with a radicalized environmental group funded by George Soros to steal our family farm. And they conspired with local officials, and that's what this was really about. It really wasn't about what we were doing on our farm. It was a land grab scandal. And so again, I go back to what I said earlier about modern technology, cell phones, and social media, and what powerful tools they are in our tool chest. And then with regard to the farm. So anyway, after we won our battle, we were able to farm and open up our farm to the public. We were able to continue to not just have our animals and grow our local fresh vegetables. I had an apiary. I produced fresh local honey. But we engaged in commerce, which where we would sell what we produced. We would do agritourism activities. We had weddings on the farm. We engaged in numerous agritourism activities that really laid the foundation for what is now a vibrant agritourism in the Commonwealth of Virginia. But then, I started this battle in 2006. It's now 2025, and my primary residence is now in Palm Beach, Florida. So it's very hard to continue the farm from the palm trees and sunshine of Palm Beach, Florida. But I'm delighted to say that it is still continuing to be, that land is still being farmed today. So thank you. Yeah.
So now you just explained you live in Florida. I live in Fairfax County, and Northern Virginia has 25 House delegate positions that are coming up in November, and 14 are uncontested, and every single one is a Democrat. And Virginia laws are probably worse than California. And what organizations are you familiar with in Northern Virginia that can help turn this around? Because when you mentioned that one law can get rid of 20 bad ones,
Yes.
we need 100 of those.
We do.
Somehow nobody's doing that in Virginia, and
I hear
If
that.
you
I hear
can-
that quite a bit. I have to say that it's very heartbreaking for me to hear that these are uncontested seats. And you said there are how many?
14 in Northern Virginia alone.
14 in Northern Virginia alone. I can give you countless examples all across our nation where people ran for seats that they thought they would never have a chance to win. They had no money. They didn't have a recognizable name. They didn't have name familiarity. And they won for these seats, and they have won. Why? Because they were right on the issues. Most Americans will vote with their pocketbooks. It doesn't matter if you're a Republican, Democrat, undecided, independent. Do I have enough food to feed my family? Do I have excellent health care and education? Am I able to provide for myself and my family? Am I safe in my community? And conservative values win that conversation every time. We want safe communities. We want more opportunity for every American. We want strong borders. We want a strong national defense. We want energy independence. I can go on and on and on. We win those conversations every time. And so I encourage you to run. If there are one of those seats, I encourage you to do that, because I am telling you that you will find that the support is there. The support is there. And people will come to support you because you speak truth to power. You want to serve the people, and you love our country, and you really care about the future of our nation. And so I encourage you to run. I'd love to talk to you about this a little bit more afterwards, because we shouldn't have any seats anywhere that are uncontested. That should never happen. Yeah, thank you.
Good morning. Thank you so much for your inspireful thoughts and your activism. I used to work for USDA, and I have to tell you that to this date, they do not have a true hotline or a true public relations office as they do at CBP, Customs and Border Protection.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that last part.
Customs and Border Protection has, for example, one where they channel to the right person and they are accountable for that. USDA doesn't have that. With your experience, what has changed or will change at USDA so other farmers don't go through what you did?
The last part faded out. I couldn't hear. I heard what has changed.
In your experience, what has changed or can change at USDA to help farmers who went or are going through what you did?
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you for that. I actually have an article that's being published tomorrow that speaks to what President Trump has done to support the farmers in our country. And one of the ways that he has done that, and I spoke about this briefly earlier, but I'll touch on it again, is tariffs. Because it's what tariffs do, particularly for small producers, is even the playing field. It evens the playing field for America's hardworking farmers. The backbone of our country, our producers and our small farmers, who for far too long were penalized by tariffs that were unfair, because our producers, farmers, it's not just what they're producing on the land, but they require equipment from all over the world. Tractors and the mechanics that go into the tractors, fertilizers, and I can go on and on and on. And so because there hasn't been an even playing field until now, President Trump is carving that path, the farmers are the ones that get hurt. A lot of these trade deals, it's the hardworking farmers, the backbone of our country, that have been hurt the most. And so I know that President Trump loves our farmers. I know that he cares deeply about the future of our agricultural industry in this country, and he's doing everything he can to make sure that that producers, small and large, are able to thrive and be successful. From a local level, how they say everything happens on the local level. It is really important that we elect and lift up in our localities where a lot of these regulations are often born, that we lift up candidates and statesmen and women who truly love our country and understand how important it is to protect land rights, property rights, and farmers. Really important. And I've actually come up with a questionnaire that I can send to anybody who's interested. I'll provide the best way to reach me here very shortly, that I can send to you, that you can give to candidates. It's very short, one page, and it just speaks to what pledge, what commitments are they going to make to protect property rights and farming. So, thank you. So, thank you all. I know our time is coming to an end, but my name is Martha Fain. The best way to reach me is through marthafain.com. That's marthafain.com. And we respond to everybody who contacts us. Thank you. God bless you. And God bless our beautiful country, the greatest nation on earth, the United States of America. Thank you.
And before you go, Martha, we're changing it up this morning. I have a full set of Morton's Laws of the Public Policy Process in coffee mug form for you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for your fight out in Fauquier County, which I hear is west of Ballston. And for your work in Florida, a free state. There's no income tax in Florida.
That's right.
Or Tennessee, where I'm from, and but you guys live here, and we're in the fight in Northern Virginia. Thank you all for joining us. Please join us. Now I'm going to switch up the script just a little bit. Please join us in August for our next Wednesday Wake Up Club, because in July, you all have these at your place settings. Beautiful, multicolored advertisement for the 52nd National 4th of July Conservative Soiree. I encourage you to join us on July 4th in Lorton, Virginia, which is just a few miles south of the King Street Metro. From 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., there will be free food. There is bluegrass, which you heard this morning. There'll be fun and games. There is, it's so much fun. People who work here at Leadership Institute and the interns, anybody who hasn't been here for a calendar year yet, know that 4th of July, Independence Day, is a work day for Leadership Institute staff as we support this national conservative coalition of organizations who put this event together, and it is so much fun. It's so much fun, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., so if you want to catch the fireworks, you have plenty of time to get back to wherever it is you plan to watch them. I encourage you to RSVP online at leadershipinstitute.org/soiree. That's 2 E's at the end for the non-native French-speaking folks in the room. Sean Gallagher is somewhere. He's way in the back in the Southern Baptist row. I know, that's where I was. It's closest to the food. I invite anyone interested in taking a tour of this, the Stephen P.J. Wood building, which, by the way, if you didn't know Stephen P.J. Wood, I got an excellent history lesson about Mr. Wood over the weekend at the Briar Patch. Stephen P.J. Wood building here, where you're sitting today in the F.M. Kirby Training Center, and our 2 additional spaces in the adjacent building, which was not there when I started at Leadership Institute the first time in 2009. Meet Sean up here at the lectern. He will give you a great tour of Leadership Institute and will be happy to answer any questions that you have about what you see or our programs or what's on the calendar. Thank you so much for coming this morning. We'll hope to see you at the soiree and then again in August for the next breakfast.